following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Today, I have the pleasure of having Director Jennifer Hinderer, Director of the Nashua Public Library. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We've had a little issue trying to get together here, one with the
have.
new technology and one with the snowstorm. Hopefully the snow will hold off today so we can all get home safely.
I will cross my fingers.
Yes. I've been looking on your website. I was very interested about what you do for the community in Nashua. Let's talk about the kids. You have a lot of programs for young children. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
I would. The children's programming, our children's department is staffed 4 or 5 of about the best children's librarians in the state, possibly in the country. We have programming story times 3 mornings a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday mornings especially for babies. So Thursday morning we host moms with teeny tinies, and they have similar activities to the older kids' story times. And Thursday nights we have story times for folks that work and can't make it in, and Sunday afternoons as well. And I like to call story times in the children's room the place where Nashua and Nashua families go to meet themselves, to meet their community. You'll find the groups of families that come to story time are really diverse countries of origin, diverse kinds of work that they do, diverse languages that they speak, and it's really a fantastic experience.
So do they all speak English, or do you Spanish, or do you have to have interpreters?
We don't have interpreters, and we don't have a Spanish language story time yet, but that's something that we're working towards or hoping for. We have a number of our printed materials translated into Spanish.
Oh, nice.
And we have materials in the children's room in other languages, but story times are primarily in English.
Yeah. And you have puppets and everything. I mean,
we do. We have a puppet theater. We do, and finger plays. And one thing I think people don't necessarily know about story times, and I'm only talking about that, story times is just one part of our programming, is story times are really pre-literacy activities. So frequently people think of children's librarians as their kids' first teacher. So it teaches kids how to learn to read, and it also teaches parents some fun things besides just flipping the pages of the book, a different way to experience a book, to get kids excited about reading, to get them to anticipate what's happening next in a book. It's a lot of fun, but everybody's learning a little bit at the same time.
And it's probably a challenge today to have them read with all the technology today, with the games on the computers and things like that.
It is challenging.
Yeah.
It
and
is.
That's good. That's good. And is it well attended? Did you have a large group?
We do. It can be, so on a snowy day, there might be 8 or 10 people. We've had as many as 60 people at a story time.
Really?
Yep.
And how many does it hold?
Do you want to know what the fire department would let us have in the room? Or when we have a big event, so to launch our summer reading program, Steve Blunt will come give a concert, and we probably have close to 100 people in the children's room.
And when do you start that program?
That starts right the day school gets out.
Oh, really?
Yep, so school gets out whatever date they pick. The next day we sign kids up and we start the summer reading program. The Steve Blunt concert is early in June. We can't keep a performer and say, wait, but
right.
Yeah, that's when that starts.
I was curious that when you talk about the kids stuff, you know, there's so many things you have on your website. I have to say your website is very easy to maneuver through. I don't know who developed it, but it's even for someone who's an old school, you know, a Smith Corona typewriter person, you know, it was very easy to find things on your website. So it's whoever did that did a great job. But you have you're talking about the Leo Legion. Tell me about the Leo Legion.
Lego Legion.
Lego Legion.
Yes. So that's an informal group of kids that get together, and I won't say it's aimed only at boys, because certainly we welcome girls, but you know, some of the crafts tend to be really like cupcake decorating, or you know, you might make a fairy house. So Lego building, we get small sets of Legos and we just set the kids loose. They can design what they like. And then we have a display case in the children's room where kids, whatever they create can go in that display case with their name and their age, and everyone gets to enjoy it.
So that's great. That's great. We go on to the next age limit.
Yes.
I'm actually leading up to my age limit, so as we go through there, we
right.
can get through this. But I noticed that you have, tell me about Animania, is that how you pronounce that?
The Anime Club.
Yeah, what is that?
So that is a club for like-minded individuals that like anime. So anime is Japanese animation. And also, if you, I don't know, if your kids or grandkids read manga, so that's another, it's a Japanese style comic book that you actually read from right to left.
Oh.
It's a particular kind of illustration and kinds of storylines. Not everybody likes it, but the kids that are in that group love it, and they love a chance to get together. They might watch a movie, discuss a book,
Right.
have a snack. You always have to have snacks for teenagers.
Yeah, if you have students that, I know you have age limits for these different.
Yes, we
for
do, yep.
Are there any special times where you could, a student want to go to the next level, even though they're too young for that group? Do you allow that or not?
In general, no. We would listen to an individual case by a parent if that group was meant for kids age 12 to 16. If you had an 11-year-old with a particular interest, could talk to the teen librarian. But in general, we pick those ages for a reason. If we introduced younger kids to that group, I don't want to imply that the kids in the anime club misbehave, but there's different expectations for language used and the kinds of fun you might have when you're 12 to 16
Right.
and when you're 10.
Sure. Yeah. Now, how do you reach the public? I mean, besides this show and your advertising, right? Do you go to the schools?
We do go to the schools. So the teen librarian and the children's librarian. So the teen librarian will visit just about every middle school and both high schools every fall and then again in the summer. So at the end of the school year, they go to introduce the summer reading program, talk about the summer reading expectations that the school have and how we collaborate with the schools on that. In the fall, we get out to the schools. Frequently in the fall, we go and talk to teachers, talk about the resources that the library has that they could use with their students to help them with projects or homework.
I'm sure you have a lot of them who go to the library to do research and...
We do.
Yeah.
We don't always know what they're doing, but they're on the computers and it looks like they're doing homework.
Well, I'm sure your computers are controlled so that they can't go on other
Yep,
websites.
for teenagers we do. So
You do.
if you're a certain age, then you can only use the computers in the teen room and they have a different set of parameters for what you can visit than on the
So
adult
the parents must
computers.
be happy and teachers must be
I think, yeah.
thankful for that,
Yeah.
so that it's
Although-
controlled environment a little bit.
You know, Mike, I think shortly we'll get to a point where the computers that we have in-house will be irrelevant because everyone will be accessing what they need on their mobile device.
Yes. Yeah.
And we don't control what people do on that in the library.
Yeah, you can't monitor that. I
No.
noticed you have teen writers. I was interested in that little program there where it's where they start their writing skills.
They do,
and
yeah.
Has that program been in existence for a long time? Or?
That was started by Danny Arsenault. He was our teen assistant just a couple of years ago. So that's a fairly new group. And to be honest, I'm not aware of how active it is now. It started small, but there's really passionate writers and they share what they're writing and they comment and encourage each other. So it's
Because I
exciting.
think in a few years you may see somebody who says, I started a teen
Yeah,
writer in the National
yeah,
Public
let's hope
Library.
so.
That would be a great faux pas for you, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and are there a lot of teenagers that come to these programs, because I know some have to work it, but they...
No, we do get really good participation.
do?
And for teen programs, good participation might mean 10 to 20 people. So when we have an adult program, good participation is 80 or 90 people. But for teenagers, like you said, they work, they have sports, they have homework, or maybe the library isn't cool enough.
Yeah. And so these are librarians that work for the National Public Library that run these programs, or do you have volunteers that do some of
It's
them?
mostly, it's library staff that facilitates the program. Especially for teens, one of the tactics that our teen librarian, Sophie Smith, is taking is not to lead all the programs herself, but to facilitate them, to invite people from the community. And for instance, she's having a soldering workshop with the folks from Make It Labs during school vacation week. She doesn't know how to teach soldering, but she's
Right.
making that connection for the teens between what they might be interested in and somebody in the community that offers some classes or some enrichment in that way.
So you're trying to reach out to and broaden so that you
Exactly.
can, because all children have different interests and things
They
like
do.
that. It sounds like you have, a lot of things. I mean, cupcake decorating, I probably couldn't do that, but
Oh, you can.
I don't know about that. Mystery craft, tell me about mystery craft.
I can't tell you about the
No.
mystery craft.
Oh, okay.
It's a secret. You have to come.
You have
But
to
you're
come.
you're
Well, I was
probably
trying.
too old. Yeah.
Oh, I am. Well, I am too old for a lot of
Yeah.
things, but do you still have the mobile library that goes around? Because I noticed your books on mail.
We don't, so-
That replaces
Yeah,
that?
books by mail replaced the outreach van.
Now, do you reach out to senior citizens, and are they do your programs for senior citizens? I know you have like magnifying glasses for people who can't see and things like
We
that.
do. We offer a variety of materials for people that are visually challenged. So you can listen to an audiobook or read a large print book, and we do have magnifiers. We do reach out to senior citizens. For better or for worse, Nashua is already really rich in opportunities for seniors. The Senior Activity Center is fantastic, and they have tons of programming. The Hunt community, they have fantastic programming. So a lot of what we do is Carol Eiman, our outreach coordinator, goes out to facilities like that to talk about what the library has, to promote the Books by Mail program. She might go to a program at the senior center and talk about good websites for seniors. We've had members of our reference department do that as well. Certainly seniors are welcome at any of our programs, but we don't necessarily design them particularly for that.
No. That's interesting. So I want to talk about what you do for special needs, because I think I mentioned something to you about that, and I think that's a really great program to help these special needs children. So can you tell me a little bit about how you handle that situation, because having had one, I know that there's some challenges there with trying to get them focused and things like that.
It is, and I asked my staff about this a little bit when you brought that up, because it's my perception, and they sort of validated that we don't do a lot particularly specially for special needs folks. It's just that we work really hard to make our building and all of our programs accessible to everybody.
So they have the availability for all the programs that they as
come,
anyone else does.
Exactly.
There's no restrictions on that?
Right.
Oh, that's good to know.
Right.
So, all right, my question.
Yes.
Languages, what tools do you use to help people in any age learn a new language?
We have a great online tool from Transparent Language, which is actually a Nashua-based company, and I've only worked in Nashua 4 years, so a year or two before I got here, we were actually a beta testing site for them. So we have CDs that you can take home. There's an online tool that you can use. We have a computer set up at the library that will help you learn. We have books to help you learn languages, but primarily it's audio or visual materials.
And so if someone takes let's talk about how long they can keep those CDs. What is the time limit to have those?
You can keep the CDs for 3 weeks, and you can renew them once.
Once.
Right. We really direct people to the online Transparent Language tool, because as long as you have a library card, you can keep using that for free, and you can enroll in a course. It can take you as long as you need. They have a mobile app. They have really neat, I'm promoting Transparent Language now. I'll have to make sure Chuck watches the show. They also have neat, like, word of the day things you can subscribe to. It's a really fun way to learn.
You know, I was thinking like people who drive a lot.
Exactly.
You know,
Yep.
they would be supposed to use an online as a CD and listen to it, and I think it would be interesting, because I was thinking of going down and getting some Spanish CDs to see if I can learn some Spanish.
You can, and you don't need to come down either, because if you have a mobile device that supports this, you can go right to our website and download an ebook and learn Spanish or Chinese or Russian or whatever language just that way.
Well, that's incredible.
Yep.
I noticed that you have you rent a lot of room. You have a lot of rooms that people use in the city for. Now, what are the restrictions on
You have to be, in order to use our meeting room, you need to be a nonprofit group or a government or agency, and that could be a city, you know, regional, state, or federal government agency. So we are used by an incredibly diverse group of people. The Nashua Republican Committee meets there. There's a socialist group that meets there. There's a Wiccan group that meets there. There's an Adobe users group that meets at the library, a chess club. It's a fantastic, so that's sort of another way that Nashua, you can come and meet your community.
Right.
So there are your neighbors and your friends and the people you go to church with also do all these other really cool and interesting things, and a lot of them do it at the library.
But you don't lease out any of the rooms to the public, so it's all has to be under those auspices to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. So
It is.
I noticed that the Plus company just moved next door to where my office is.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So that's I'm sure they use that too.
Yeah, the Plus company's in our building actually twice a week.
Yes,
There's
I saw that.
they're on.
I printed out.
Oh, you're going.
I have all this like kangaroo, beginner Spanish, you know, the Grand State Club, Harris Preserve Housing Association. So I was really amazed at how many diversify groups that use
There are,
use the
yeah.
city's public library. It's really a good thing for the city. Now, what do you see for the future of the library? Do you have anything coming down the road?
Well, related to meeting rooms, we actually are expanding. If you've ever been in the building, there's this one meeting room that we call the East Wing, and it's in kind of this dungeon part of the library where most of that is storage, and the Friends has storage there. The trustees owned the Chandler building, which they sold, and there was a trust that went along with it. So the proceeds of all of that is going to expand and renovate that last undeveloped part of the library. I just had a meeting with the architect today, and there will be 2 big meeting rooms, a small meeting room, and 2 study rooms in that area.
Oh yes, I took a printout of your
Oh, yep.
of your floor plan.
Yep.
So it's very accessible to the.
It's right by the theater, so if you've been in the library and seen the theater. So we're really excited about that. If you've had a meeting in the library, and anybody watching who's had a meeting, some of them happen right in our public spaces. It can be noisy. It's a little bit distracting. So these will be all brand new, state-of-the-art meeting rooms where they'll have built-in projection equipment. One of the rooms will have kind of a nice vinyl floor, so you can go do a little messy craft. We have Girl Scouts that meet.
Yeah.
And they're a great group of girls, but I'm sure they'd appreciate a spot where they could be a little less tidy.
Well, with their cookies, they just come out a little while ago.
It does, yeah.
That's not a good thing for with their mint cookies. Your computer workshops.
Yes.
Now, that is, I'm sure a lot of people from my generation.
That's a great way to put it, yes.
I challenge sometimes on the computer. So I notice you have classes for students, but is that open to people of all ages?
Any age.
Any age.
And they start from as basic as people who don't know how to use a mouse, need to know where the button is to turn on the computer, need a little bit of hand-holding and reassurance that there's nothing they can do to break the computer, all the way up to kind of a medium-level access class for someone has really great computer skills, but they need to build a database for something. Maybe they're starting a small business, or they need to do some direct mailing or direct
Like
marketing.
Publisher, you teach Publisher and Excel and
Yep.
all those.
In Word, yeah.
In Word.
Yep.
And
And one of the great new features, we've only had this for a couple of years, are computer drop-in sessions. So a couple of times a week, there's a reference librarian available for an hour or 2, and people can come with any computer question. They might know how to use Word, but they don't know how to put a table in. Or they might have gotten a new e-reader for Christmas or their birthday, and they don't know how to get books on it, or how to make the print larger. That's a great feature of e-readers.
especially for my generation.
Yeah, yeah.
Print I do know how to change the font, so there's like 20, so I don't have to use glasses all the time.
Right, right. Well, that
but-
saves a lot of vanity. We talked about that a little bit. You don't need to put those readers on if you know how to use your device.
As always, I'm always challenged to get something on the website and put it on and then try to type next to it. It's like I call my daughter or my wife. I go,
How do I do this
How do I
again?"
do this? And she tells me, we both took a course at Riviera on computer, and I just studied the book and took the test, and I got an A-, and she got a B+. And after the class, she knows how to do more than I did, because that's all it was. It was just testing to do the thing. So it's very exciting. I'm just amazed at how many online job searching. Now tell us a little bit where you can go with that.
I think our online job searching class is really to help people refine their job searching online. There's sites like monster.com used to be sort of the go-to place, and everybody would search there. And if you've used it recently, there's probably more sort of nefarious job ads on there than there are real people seeking actual employees. So that class is meant to help people that are out of work or looking for a better job to really identify some of the best sites, the best way to search, how to represent themselves well online. It's a really popular class. Our computer classes are small. Our training room can only seat 8 people at a time, which sounds like a small class in a city of 87,000 people, but that helps our teachers be really specifically focused on individual people. So if we have 5 or 6 people in an online job searching class, they can really, if you're looking for jobs in the hospitality industry, they can help you find websites and search on just that kind of site. And maybe someone else is looking for a manufacturing job, and there might be better websites for that.
So there's probably a smaller one-on-one than they do in the classrooms then, so it's really it's really nice, because I'm sure a lot of people are frustrated with not knowing how to do that, and the efforts that you put forth are probably well used,
Right.
and these are all your staff from the library, correct?
Yes, yep.
Wow.
So it's our reference staff that does the computer classes. So they all have their master's degree in library science. And
And how big is your staff?
there are actually 50 individual human beings that work at the library, 42 full-time equivalents. So
Wow.
a number of our staff are part-time pages or part-time library assistants. The reference staff is 5 reference librarians, and they staff the desk and do computer classes and help people with local history research. Another thing we haven't gotten to that I suspect we will is we have a pretty good-sized collection of historic photographs. And if you read the Nashua Telegraph or look at it online, you'll see Don Himsel's got a series going on of Nashua then and
Yes.
now, and a bunch of those photographs come from us. We've been digitizing them, and hopefully those will be, they are available online now. We're hoping to expand that availability. So that's another neat project that
Wow.
my reference staff
So what
does.
other projects do you have going? I mean, there's so many, I don't know where to,
I
where
know.
to begin. It's just,
Related to local history, we're also working on a project to digitize all of our microfilms. So we have Nashua newspapers and documents way back at the turn of the century that are available on microfilms. If you've ever done that, it's kind of
Yes.
like a film strip at school, and you watch it zip by, and you
Right.
can't search it, and you might say, oh, I think there was a fire when I was a kid, and it might have been. So we're working with a private company, send our microfilm reels out, they'll digitize it and make it searchable. So you'll be able to, on our website, search,
now, does the,
fire on Amherst Street, and
Yep.
it'll bring up the articles for you.
do you work with the Historical Society of Nashua also?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Because they have resources that we don't have. So there'll be times when somebody, the mayor's office might call and say, we need information on this important Nashua citizen, and do you have a photograph? And maybe we don't have everything we need, so we can call the Historical Society and they can fill in those gaps.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah.
So, I don't, the internet, it's just the word classes. I was just absolutely, it's been a long time since I've been in the library.
It has?
So,
How long has it been, Mike?
well,
True confessions.
True confessions, quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you work for yourself, your
I
time
know.
is less.
I know. And I think you would be surprised. I think we'll always be about books and reading, but the shift is more towards being a community space for people to meet and work, a place to learn how to use a computer or use one that's in-house. We have Wi-Fi, like free Wi-Fi, like almost everybody does.
Yep.
But we have outlets for you to plug in your device. And we also offer another neat service, print from anywhere. So if you're at home and your printer has stopped working, or you bought black and white ink instead of color ink,
Right.
there's a link on our website. You can send your job via that link, drive down to the library, put your change in the machine, and out comes your print job. And I
Okay.
think everybody should use that, and then none of us would have to buy a printer
This
ever
is true.
again.
I'm going to tell my wife that. She says,
Yeah.
we need to get another printer, so.
No, you don't.
I will tell her that. So tell everybody what your website is so they know.
NashuaLibrary.org.
NashuaLibrary.org. And it's, when you get on there, it's so user-friendly.
And I'm glad you say that, Mike, but stay tuned, because we're working with Mesh Interactive on a brand new website.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm really excited about it.
And when do you see that coming?
Probably the end of April.
Oh,
Like
so-
any project, it depends a lot on the library staff writing the copy that they need for the website, so
Right.
it's sort of on us.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Good. And your phone number?
589-4600.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to let the public know what you are trying to do? What are your programs for the summer? What do you have coming up?
We have, so this is a really neat thing to talk about, and the summer is a fantastic time at the library. It's a great time to be in the city. The summer fun program that comes out is full of things, and a lot of them happen at the library. One thing I think families may not realize, you may have known when your kids were younger, or even your grandkids might be part of the summer reading program. So we have a summer reading program in the kids' room. The kids can read books. They get a little incentive. There's some programs going on during the summer. Once they age out of that, then we have a teen summer reading program, and we coordinate with the middle schools so kids can read for our program and also meet whatever requirements there are at the middle and high school. And they get reading incentives. There's programming that goes along with it. This year's theme is Spark a Reaction. And one of the programs, Sophie asked me if I could ask Chief Morrissey if his crew could come down and start a fire and put it out. That idea needs a little more development. Yeah. There's also, we started 2 years ago, a summer reading program for adults. So everybody in your family, or if you don't have a family, you can do it yourself. You can sign up for the adult summer reading program. You can submit reviews of the books that you've read. You can enter to win a raffle. I think this year we're giving away an iPad Air at the end of the summer. And there's associated programs.
Now, do you choose the books for people, or is there a
No,
list? No, they can choose whatever
people
books they
just
want?
can read willy-nilly, anything
Really?
they like. And the other big thing that goes on in the library at the summer is our film series stop. So all winter we have films on Tuesday nights for adults. Many of them are R-rated. And we have family films on Saturdays. During the summer, we turn off the movies. And we have 2 different concert series. So we have an outdoor concert series on Thursday nights in July and August. And on Wednesdays at lunchtime, in July and August, we have boxed lunch. And those are classical concerts, and people bring their lunch.
And they're held outside?
They're held downstairs in
downstairs?
the library in the Music, Art, and Media department. Yeah.
Wow.
But the outside, the Thursday night concerts are quite a thing.
And what time do they start?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock
Yeah.
till
They're done.
they're done?
8:30 usually, because we like to get home by 9 o'clock, but some will run later.
Yeah, and what type of
It could be world music. We've had a blues group. We've had a really pretty diverse variety of groups. Carol Iman works tirelessly. She probably has the next 2 years' acts sort of planned out in her head. It depends on who's willing to come and who can give us kind of a library rate. It is fantastic. I really encourage you to come if you can.
I will.
People of all ages and kids having a ball on the grass.
Yeah, that's I'll bring my grandson and my wife.
You should.
And I have to control him a little bit. But
Yeah, but see, you're on the plaza in front of the library. It doesn't
you
matter
go.
what he does. He can
Wow.
run. Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you. I mean, I think we've covered everything that I could possibly think of. Is there anything else you'd like to let the citizens know about what you do? Or
I think the most important message to people is we wish everybody in Nashua had a library card. People pay for us in their property taxes, and we belong to the people who live and work in Nashua. And if you live in Nashua, if you work in Nashua, if you go to school in Nashua, you're entitled to a free library card. And it's easy. It takes about 2 minutes to get it. And once you have it, you can use all our online resources. You can use the ebooks online. We have independent films that you can stream online for free. You can learn to speak another language. It's easy. It's a lot of fun, and it's something everybody has access to. We have maybe 32,000 people that have a library card, and we would love to see that be more like 72,000.
well, maybe we could get the Telegraph to put something in the newspaper for you to do that.
That would
And
be
I'll
great.
see. I'll try to make a call for you
Yeah,
to
do that
expedite
for
that,
us.
because
Yeah.
that is public knowledge, and it's it's a source of incredible information that's available to everybody, regardless of how old you are or what walk of life you're in and what your interests are. So it's very very exciting to do that. So I just want to thank you for coming. I'd like to thank. This is the director of the Nashua Public Library, Jennifer Hinderer. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming.
It was great to meet you.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.